欢迎今日的嘉宾 Hassan。
Welcome, and thank you for deciding to join my session that I'm presenting to EMCC China. This session is about you, the human behind the coach, where I would like to take you into a journey to explore what does it mean to have a coaching mindset as a human before of being a coach. Allow me to tell you a little bit about myself. It is only fair. My story started as a child that constantly seeking to belong. You see, since my childhood, because of my father's work, I found myself moving from one country to another, not knowing where is home and what does it look like to belong to a specific country or nation. Even when I used to go back to my home country in Egypt, I always felt like a stranger. And this is what led me into searching very early. This energy, the seeking to belong, because I was feeling alone, led me to martial arts and healing arts as a way to learn more about myself. This is where I started a journey, an extensive journey of studying and teaching martial arts 30 years ago. Since I was 7 years old, I started. I studied in China. This is why Chinese culture is extremely dear to me, and I cannot describe how good it feels that I am now managing to share with you who belong to the Chinese culture a bit from what I learned from you to start with. 30 years fast forward of martial arts and healing arts led me to discovering what is coaching before even understanding what is coaching. 15 years of these 30 years, I was introduced to the Western mentality to human change through coaching. And this is where I started working on connecting the Eastern philosophy and the Western philosophy to human development. And I found my own methodology that is called somatic thinking. Fast forward, I found myself honored to be one of 6 leaders that was honored by the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, as the leaders of coaching in the world that represent this organization. And in the same time, I found myself extremely fast. From my perspective, 15 years is fast. I became an MCC, a Master Certified Coach, one of the highest levels in coaching that is represented by the ICF. A very important part of my growth was having my children, Sarah and Adam. They became one of my most important teachers, teaching me how to be a better human being and then a better coach. Now, enough about me. I'm here to convey a simple message. The message is that to be an amazing coach, an impactful coach, you need just to become an authentic human being. This is all that it takes. Because in reality, we cannot really practice coaching core competencies unless we grow them within our own humanity, within ourselves. If I will not be able to listen to my daughter deeply and profoundly, I will not be able to listen to my client deeply and profoundly. It will be an act, or no matter how I will try, I will be listening superficially. For that reason, coaching needs to become a mindset, a lifestyle, not just a career. Let us start with you, the human behind the coach. Let's explore a little bit and learn about you, how your mind interacts with life. Now, look at this girl. Look at this picture. And try to guess, what is she experiencing? From your perspective, how does she feel? Please write down on a note beside you, how do you see her? I will give you a moment. So what is she experiencing? How does she feel? And write down. Based on my experience presenting this experiment to thousands of people, some of us will perceive her sad, upset, feeling heavy. Some of us will perceive her that she is preparing for something, that she is standing and hiding. Some of us will perceive her that she's just there, standing. It's a form of a human, a female, a contrast between light and shadow, and a color yellow. So the same stimuli, and each one of us will interpret it, will perceive it differently. Now, look at her now. And the same thing. Tell me, what is she experiencing? How does she feel? And share, how do you see her? Write down on a note beside you. I will give you a moment. I hope that you wrote down in few words, how do you see her? Now again, based on my experience working with a lot of people through this experiment, some of us will start saying that she's free, she's happy. She is like as if she's flying while she's dancing. She's enjoying herself. Some of us will say she is performing movement, arms open, a lot of movement in the hair, in the dress. There is yellow. The dress is dynamic and moving. She's on her toes. So different stimuli, different perspectives. Now the question that asks itself is, why did you see her differently in the picture and then while she's dancing? Take a moment and think about it. At the end, to tell you the truth, she's exactly the same girl, and the video is from the same experience. The only difference that one is a static picture and the other while she's dancing. But at the end, We started telling a lot of stories where we started saying things like, she's sad, she's upset, she is heavy, and blah, 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 and with other variations. And the other, we started saying, she is free, she is rejoicing, she is enjoying, and so on. Just a different contrast of perspective, although she's the same person. But in reality, it could be completely the opposite. In the static picture on the left, she may be standing still, yes, but she's giggling and laughing and having a blast. And the dancing, moving video on the right, maybe she is dancing with her tears on her face, and she's feeling miserable because she had to dance because someone kidnapped her child and threatened her if she will not dance. A lot of stories, a lot of possibilities. But at the end, we created those stories. No one can tell us the story but the girl herself. And that's a fact. Our mind is biased to see the world with clarity and certainty. Uncertainty, the unknown, is extremely terrifying for us. For that reason, when the sensory information is limited, I do not have a lot of information from one picture or one video, my mind starts generating more meanings to feed our clarity and certainty addiction. Yes, we are addicted. As human beings, one of our foundational fear is fearing the unknown. We fear death because we are afraid of the unknown. So it's a simple logical conclusion that because we fear the unknown, our minds start crafting a story that will give us a fake sense that the unknown is now known. Because we are addicted to the safety, the false safety that certainty give us, that clarity give us. But in reality, no matter how much we know, the amount of the stuff that we do not know is much, much more. Now, based on this logic, what did you learn about yourself? How dependent you are on creating stories and meanings while you are not really, you don't have enough sensory information. You did not hear enough. You did not see enough. If you are very honest with yourself, and if you are in a certain way in your life where you judge, for example, or you assess and you give diagnoses, you will be the same in your coaching sessions. So take a moment, reflect a bit about how are you dealing with your own mind? How is your mind giving you this sense of safety? Do you see only sensory and see things as it is, and you describe it as it is, which means I would say she is a female standing, her arms is like this, her hair is like this. How does she feel? I do not know. I need to ask her. She is dancing, her arms are like that, her legs are like that, the movement is like this. All what I'm describing now is just sensory information. How does she feel? I do not know. Let me go and ask her. How are you feeling while you are dancing? She may be sad, she may be happy, she may be flying. I do not know. Now let's explore the nature of our relationship to life. How do we perceive it? How do we as human beings relate to life? Let's start from the beginning. What is life? Life is a physical experience. So we are living when we are actually having physical experience that is filled with physical interaction. My body is interacting with the physical world, and the physical world is rich with sensory informations, things that we see, things that we touch, things that we taste, etc., etc. All kinds of sensory information. So this is the nature of life. Life offers us something and we offer it something. What actually life offers us is simply stimuli. All what we have stimulates us. Every single thing we are experiencing in this life is stimuli. So energies that stimulates our thinking, our senses. Of course, it stimulates our senses first, and then with the information that our senses absorb, it makes us think. For example, look at the picture on your right side. This picture, in the stimuli language, if I want to describe it in a sensory information way, I would say there is a shape and there is a contrast in the light and shadow, and there are different colors. This is the language of a sensory information, the language of the stimuli. There is nothing good or bad, and there is no names yet for things, because this is where we come. So in a sensory information way, I would say colors, shapes, smells. There is a smell, there is a contrast, there is something different. But then this is where we come, and we start offering these stimuli meanings. We translate the stimuli into meanings. We interpret them. This is where I will start saying that this shape is a butterfly. This color is red, and that color is yellow, and this color is green. This dark shades, and so on. So life gives us a stimuli, and the language of the stimuli is indifferent, is very neutral. It is not negative or positive. It is not yin or yang. It is not good or bad. But then our meaning making is what transforms the stimuli, what interpret the stimuli and classify it after. And that's simply our relationship to life. It gives us neutral stimuli, and we translate the stimuli in a way that suits us based on our perspective. For example, imagine that you're walking in a jungle or a garden, and suddenly life sends you this stimuli, this beautiful butterfly. If you are receiving what is sent as it is, beautiful butterfly with the color white and so on. But based on your readiness, based on your perspective, the perspective that you are using, let's say if you were occupied with something from the past, your mind thinking about something from the past, or your mind is occupied with something in the future, or your mind is being present in the present moment, the result would be that actually this one stimuli that life is sending you, you can interpret it and see it in 3-4 different versions. For example, you could, because your mind is not present and stuck in the past, as an example, you may think that it's a bat, and suddenly you panic because you are scared of bats, or because your mind is occupied with the future, you may not even perceive the butterfly. You will not see it. Or if you are in the present moment, you see and receive the majority of what life is sending you. At the end, this is the difference between perceiving life and receiving life. When you are in the present moment, you will start receiving or perceiving life in a very aligned way with what's happening in reality. So we call it in sync perception, a perception that is in sync with reality. But if being present is hard for you, you are not practicing enough presence in the moment to be here and now, then receiving life as it is becomes very difficult. And this is where your perception becomes out of sync with reality. So the picture in your mind is different than the picture that it's out there. Let's conduct another experiment to shed some light about how you perceive or receive life. Now let's practice breathing together. And listen to me, let's breathe together. So inhale, filling up your stomach with air, taking your stomach out to the maximum. Now exhale, pulling your stomach in and emptying your stomach to the maximum. So I am breathing from the abdominal area, as you can see in the video. Inhale to your maximum. Exhale. Make sure that you reached your maximum. Mark my words. Inhale to the maximum capacity that you can in. Exhale to your maximum capacity. Now, one last time. Inhale, reach your maximum capacity, and hold your breath. Now, inhale more. Inhale more. Inhale more. Exhale to your maximum. Hold your breath. Now, exhale more. Exhale more. Exhale more. Wow. So this is what happened. I asked you to inhale to your capacity, to your maximum capacity, and I made sure to repeat every single time. And you inhaled to what you think it's your capacity. And then in the last time we inhaled and exhaled, I asked you to inhale to your maximum capacity. Hold your breath. And then I asked you to inhale more. Inhale more. And to my surprise, I am sure that you managed to inhale even more than what you thought that you could. And that's your body, your own body. Your perceived capacity is different than your real capacity. You just inhaled it the first 3 times to the limit that you perceive, that you think about yourself, not your actual limits. And then when you receive the stimuli from outside through in a form of an instruction from me telling you inhale more and inhale more, you actually manage to do it, at least the majority of you. which means that you have been lying to yourself, of course, subconsciously, about your own breathing limits. And imagine if this is how you perceive your own breathing, something that you do millions of times per day. Imagine what else, where else in your life and or with your client that you perceived the wrong limit. We all need to grow beyond our perceived limits by receiving more from life instead of perceiving, thinking that life is only offering us that much. In reality, life is always offering it a much that I do not know. There is no ceiling to it. I need to constantly push my boundaries to realize what actually life is offering me, what actually my coachee, my client is offering me. And that's the first mind shift that I am offering you or suggesting to you. Shift your mind from perceiving to receiving. Instead of constantly depending on your perception, work more on receiving life. And what enables you to do that is be present in the moment and always presume that you do not know. I do not know. I need to explore. I do not know. Dancing with the unknown is the key. Now let's explore about your own coaching if you are a coach or you want to become a coach. Let's talk about you. What's your coaching intention? Who do you really want to serve? Are you here to support the coachee to reach his objective? Or you are here to support the humanity of the coachee himself? Are you here to work with the what of the coachee? What he wants to achieve, where he wants to reach? Or you are here to work with the who of the coachee, who she or he is, how are they perceiving their own life? These are your choices as a coaching intention. I wonder how would you answer this question? Again, based on my experience with thousands of people, majority of coaches, they would choose the idea of that I am here to support the person, the human. Then let's understand how are you really supporting the person right now? Are you supporting it through coaching, pure coaching, or you are mixing things together? And this is where it is very important for us to make extremely clear distinctions between the different professions for human development. All of these are professions to support the coach, the coachee, to support the client, to support the human being. So if the distinctions are not very clear between them to us, we end up usually mixing things together without even perceiving it. You may think that this is a very simple distinctions, or that as a coach you are, or as a masterful coach, that you are too advanced for this. We all know what is mentoring and consulting and so on. But I beg to differ. Until now, I constantly need to remind myself of the differences and orient my compass properly as a coach, orient myself to the appropriate direction that I am a coach and nothing else. What I am doing now is a coaching session and nothing else. So all of these professions, they have in common that they are approached by a human being who have an objective. In this, we are all the same. A mentor, I receive a mentee who want to achieve a certain experience, usually professional, and he wants to learn from my experience. At the end, there is a clear objective here for the mentee, which is to take or absorb from my knowledge of the subject matter, of the professional experience. And of course, mentoring is not coaching. Consulting. A human being who comes to me about a specific objective that he needs to reach through my own experiences. But in that case, my experience as a consultant, it's more utilized to solve the subject matter, to solve the objective. So I will tell him what to do. I will give him plans and practices for him to be able to take the shortcut to the objective. And that goes on a professional matter or a personal matter. Teaching. As a student, I go to my teacher because I want to learn certain things that I do not have. This knowledge my teacher has. So my objective is to obtain knowledge. Exactly like consulting and mentoring. I'm seeking knowledge. I need to obtain it from a person who is higher than me. There's no partnership there. There is a leader and a follower. Therapy. A human being goes to a therapist when they have a misbalance. They are unbalanced emotionally, energetically, or physically, or all of the above. In that case, my objective is to achieve balance. So I go to the therapist. The therapist uses his or her knowledge and expertise to give me remedies, to give me practices that will enable me, that will allow me to find balance, if it's psychological or physical or both. Again, focusing on the objective, the therapist is on a higher level than me. He leads me into balance, and I follow. Now, coaching. Surprisingly, maybe we think that coaching is clear, but because it is an infant profession, it is not as clear as we would think. You see, coaching, there are types of coaching or type of coaching schools or coaching methodologies that it's all about helping the coachee achieve his or her objective. And this is where things become gray. The difference or the distinction between coaching and the other professions is not clear now. Because we are here, even in the coaching definition, you will find that we are here to inspire people to achieve their own objectives for growth, for personal and professional growth. So even on a definition level, we are still not very distinguished from the other professions because we are still serving the objective. But the difference here is the concept of partnership, that as a coach, I do not have the knowledge. I depend on my partnership with the coachee for us to walk together forward until they achieve their objective. Okay. Until the coach becomes more experience. Let's say after 4,000, 5,000 coaching sessions, we start experiencing a different level of coaching. We start realizing that the objective is not why we are here. And we start realizing, what does it mean that we are here to support the who, the person, not the objective? And this is where the distinction between coaching and all the other professions becomes clear. And this is my coaching intention. Every time I work with a coachee, I tell myself, I'm not here for the objective. I am here to support my coachee's awareness to grow beyond the limits of the objective. The objective becomes just a stimuli, a starting point. This is why if a normal coach who still put a lot of energy and emphasis of the objective, while he or she is working with the coachee in a coaching session, and suddenly the objective will change once or twice during the session, the coach will feel stressed because we put a lot of energy on the objective. What we will do now? Oh my God, I may fail to help my coachee achieve their objective. But a masterful coach say, actually, I celebrate every time my coachee change their objective within the session. It is an indication for me that their awareness outgrow the limit of the objective to the extent that they found another objective that is usually in a more important level for them. And that's the beauty. And that's the difference. And once we work from this level as coaches, that we are here not to help our coachee obtain knowledge, not to help our coachee achieve balance. We are here to help our coachee awareness to grow beyond the limits of the objective, which is a completely different story. Then the distinctions is clear. Coaching is for knowledge activation. We activate what the coachee already knows to grow. It is not for obtaining knowledge. Now to demonstrate, how does it actually look like in a coaching session? The difference between a coach, when the coach is focusing on the objective, and the coach that is focusing on helping the coachee grow. How would that look like in a coaching session? I will just give you one example. An authentic part of a coaching session is what we call the coaching agreement. And the first point of the coaching agreement is the objective. Why are you here? What do you want to achieve within our session? So that's a question that is extremely common. And I'm sure that all the other professions use it. What do you want to achieve in our session? A coach that focuses on the objective will listen to the objective and then will try to sum it up, and then we carry on. The coachee may tell me a story, and then I will tell him what I understood from you, that you are here to work on this object. For example, that you want to learn how to express yourself. Okay, from the story, I started summarizing as a coach. Because what matters for me is to have a specific objective to work on. Now, for a coach who focuses on expanding my coachees' awareness of themselves and equipping them more, not only equipping them, activating their own knowledge, I will ask the same question. What do you want to achieve And then when the coachee will respond to me with a big story, I want to do this and that and this and that, and because this happens and so on, a story, I will respond, okay, I heard you, but I did not understand yet where is your objective. My coachee will go back and will try again, will summarize a little bit more, will come up maybe with 2 objectives. And then I come back to them. Okay, I heard you. And I hear 2 objectives. Which one are they? Coachee will come back to me telling me, I would like to focus on this. I want to express myself better. Because my work is the people, so I will inspire this and that and the people who work with me. I go back to him. Okay, how would you summarize this objective in 3-4 words maximum, so it will be easier for us to remember during the session? And the coachee will come back to me at the end, telling me, okay, I would like to express myself better with strength. This entire process is a space that we used to help my coachee develop his own understanding and awareness about an objective, any objective. The subtle development that happened now, that first my coachee learned that an objective cannot be a story. And then he learned that 2 objectives cannot be an objective. So he started activating prioritization. And then he learned that expressing an objective into a precise 2, 3, 4 words becomes easier to recall this objective and to work with it. These 3, 4 capacities that we just activating in the coachee, this is what I work for as a coach. This is what will benefit him with whatever objective he will ever think about after our session. And this is growth. And that's an example of the difference between when I'm working with my coachee for the objective. So I ask the question to get the information, what is the objective, so we can start working. Or when I'm working with my coachee with the intention of helping them grow beyond their limits, I ask the question using the space of the question to help them grow already. So even if the coaching session stops now, if it stopped now, I have already gave something to my coachee. He will come out or she will come out from this session with an actual value. And that's the difference. And the same thing with the rest of the coaching agreement, that there is, of course, no time to go through them all. But at the end, it is all used for awareness expansion, to expand my coachee's awareness. The second shift is shifting my attention from the objective into growing the awareness of the coachee. This is the magic that coaching brings to the table, in my opinion. Now, tell me, what did you learn about yourself and about coaching? Based on all what we spoke about, what did you learn? I would love to read in the comments before we will open a Q&A session. In few words, write down in the chat box, what did you learn about yourself and about coaching? Thank you so much for having me. My name is Hassan. It was a pleasure being with you all. And I'm looking forward to respond and interact with all your questions. Please, don't pull any punches. Ask until your heart content.
Yeah, because my camera is broken, so I cannot open the camera. So sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
But you can still see my face from the photo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So during the next Q&A part, I'll be the interpreter for you. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. How do you prefer the flow? Long sentences, short sentences?
Maybe short sentence or a trunk is good for me to know the meaning. Yeah. If you just say 3 sentences, I can't grab the meaning of what you're saying. But if you say a meaning trunk, yeah, so I can understand more. Yeah. But if you speak slowly, I can catch up. I can still catch up.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you. So thank you very much for your fantastic speech. First, yeah, I'm wondering if you're familiar with the Myers-Briggs type indicator. Yeah,
no,
the Myers-Briggs type indicator. So because I have questions about that, so I can explain to you. The Myers-Briggs type indicator have 8 key indicators: extroverts, introverts, sensors, intuitives, thinkers, feelers, judges, and perceivers. So there are 8 key indicators. So I have a question about sensors, between sensors and intuitives. Sensors type person, I think it's easy for them to sense the surroundings. Yeah, they have the radar to sense the things they touch, they taste, they hear. So it's easy for them to be present. But intuitives, in my opinion, they tend to focus on possibilities and big pictures. They can see the future, the long-term pattern. So sometimes it's hard for them to be present. They see the future always. According to your pictures shown to us in the webinar, sensors type person may say there are 7 colors and 3 butterflies from that picture. But intuitive person might say, I see chaos. I see a butterfly family. So intuitive type people tend to describe meanings behind this sensory information. So their imagination is much better than sensors. So I was wondering, in your experience, how to switch the button between sensors and intuitives. If I am a 95% intuitive person, so it's hard for me. So am I suitable for being a coach? Because coach should lead people to be present. Yeah.
What a great question.
It's a long question, yeah.
So would you mind? Great question.
Would you can think about it. I can translate the question first. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. 刚刚就是有一个问题是关于我们现在就是当下大火的一个人格测试，那就是 MBTI 测试。那 MBTI 呢，它有8个测试指标。第一个是外向型、内向型、感觉型、直觉型、思考型、情感型、判断型和知觉型这8项指标。那我想，那刚刚这个问题是就感觉型人和直觉型人去提了一个问题，就是感觉型的人，他们通常比较容易感觉到当下的环境，他们触摸到的、尝到的、听到的、闻到的等等，所以说好像他们是更容易就是更 更容易去在当下。那直觉型的人呢，他们呢倾向于就是去重视各种各样的未来的可能性和一些很大的版图，所以说他们就是经常就是放眼未来，他们就是有很长远的视角，那是长远视角。那刚刚就是就 webinar 中的刚刚Summer 讲座中的一幅图就是 S 型 sensor 感觉型的人，他就看到这幅图，他就可能会说那有就是7种更多的颜色，然后有3只蝴蝶，他会这样去描述这幅图。但是直觉型的人他会这样子说，他会觉得他看到了混乱，因为那7种颜色它是糅杂在一起的，他可能看到了混沌混乱。他也可能会看到了，因为有3只蝴蝶，他会说我看到了蝴蝶一家，就是一家3口的意思。那直觉型的人呢，他就倾向于他去描述感官刺激之后的意义所在，那他们的想象力也会比直觉型的人会比感觉型的人想象力会更加丰富。那就是刚刚想问 Summer 的一个问题，就是我们在日常生活中是怎么样通常去把控这个感觉和直觉之间的切换的？那如果是一个95%的直觉型的人，他怎么样？他适合做导师吗？他适合做或者是适合做教练吗？因为教练是要教人，就是要处在当下。Yeah, please answer the questions.
So I would like to answer like this. There was a lot of work that is similar to Meyer's work across the history of humanity. And it was all about describing states for the human being that we gravitate to, not identities that we live in. I will give you a chance to translate, or would you like me to explain more?
Yeah, you can explain more.
Okay. So it depends on how are you perceiving it. Are you perceiving the idea that you are you gravitate it to sensory more, or you gravitate to imagination more, and so on, as an identity, or you identify with your consciousness as a fluid thing that expands and can move from one gravitational pull to another. At the end, the way that I see it, that we have our meaning-making mechanism and we have our body physical perception. We all have different preferences and tendencies. Yet, the preferences and tendencies can always be overwritten with intention and mindful practices if we have the need to do that. So no matter what we prefer or the space of consciousness that we like to stay with, it is possible for us to shift when we collaborate with our body, because at the end we all have bodies and we all receive sensory information to a certain extent. Changing the amount of sensory information that we receive changes the formula. And I saw this in many cases, based on many psychometrics and many identifications from Enneagram and so on, that a person who used to identify with the world, with himself, and interact with the world in a certain preferred way, they start shifting to a more expansive way. Like, there are people who are mind center, heart center, or emotional center, and physical center. There are people who are advanced and gravitating to the mind center, people who are more gravitating to the emotional center. And then when they expand, they try to include and incorporate the mind center. And vice versa with the body and so on. We are alive to grow constantly. So I do not really like to limit my mind around a certain diagnostic analysis, like psychometrics. No matter how true they are, they can be overwritten with human growth. Not sure if this answers your question, but this is what I have for you right now.
Yes, I say you think the indicators are just a proxy, not a determination to limit the people's growth. So I will translate what you're saying, just simply
Please.
because I'm yeah. Yeah. 刚刚就是 Summer 回答这个问题，他想说的是，其实人呢，他其实有自己的一个状态，但是呢，人他需要有不同的身份，就像他会去感知不一样的东西，就比如说，有的人他就可能会就是这样子去处于一种认同状态，就是他会以 sensory 就是感官会更感官倾向性，但是有的人他会更加的是想象的倾向性，但这都是他们自己的一种状态，对。然后但是我们的意识呢，我们是可以扩展这种状态的，可以从一种转到另一种。那我们身体中有一些机制，身体机制和我们的身体的感知机制，会让我们就是根据环境去不同的去转变。那我们每个人是人就会有倾向性，那么呢，但是我们为什么会被贴上这些标签，主要是因为我们有时候会需要这些，我们是有这个意图去贴上标签的，是意图导向。那是因为我们需要这样的标签。那不管我们怎样感觉，我们的意识状态是如何的，那我们都要就是让自己的身体与这些环境融为一体，听听自己的身体的声音。那比如说在过去的时候，就是有的人他可能是以心为中心有些人是以就是心灵为中心，有些人是以头脑为中心，有些人是情感为中心，有些人是情欲为中心的。那其实他们如果只要他们愿意，他们都是可以去发展这个状态的，就可以。他既也是心导向，他也是头脑导向，就是脑和心可以就是联合在一起。那我们的生活在变，我们的人也在不断成长，所以我不希望就是有太多的这些什么指标什么测试什么诊断去给人的性格下定论。那我希望就是不要这样的话，就可能会对人的成长带来一些限制。所以是相信自己身体是怎么样去发展的。对 ，Yeah。
I wonder what other questions do we have?
I'm asking the technologists.
Sure.
So have you to present in another Chinese platform according to our this topic? Because yeah.
Yes, I presented in few Chinese forums.
So do you receive any interesting questions or very inspiring, intriguing questions? So you can share with us also.
Of course. One famous question: how can I become more present? What is the simplest way?
Yeah.
To be more present, and at the end, the answer is always this: rediscover no, actually, it's rediscovering your relationship to your body. That your body is your partner. To be present, start by being present with your body first, not with your mind, not through controlling.
On the contrary, the mind needs to let go.
Yeah.
And you allow your attention to be focused on your own body and listen. Once you start sensing your breathing movement, once you start sensing the ground underneath your feet, the air on your skin, only then you can start entering the space of presence. So your body is always the portal. But if you want to do everything with your mind, this is when presence will always elude you and run away from you.
Yeah. So let me translate first. Yeah. 就是刚刚就是想问就是刚刚 Summer 他在其他的平台有没有分享过类似的话题？他说有过，然后他就是然后想让他分享一下关于就是他就是收到的一些有趣的问题，就是他觉得就是在讲座中收到的最多的问题就是怎么样保持处于当下的这种状态。那就是Summer 回答是我们要就是还是要身体处于当下，就是不要让自己的思想去控制它，不要控制，让排除自己的思想，不要用脑袋去想，那就是把重心和注意力放在感受上面，呼吸上面，然后那样你的可能是你周围你的皮肤上的空气它就会不知不觉的让你进入那个场域状态。So do you think doing yoga or doing pilot is good for us to find the presence? Or I was wondering, is there a distinction between presence and heart flow? Do you know heart flow in scientific research? Heart flow.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So my question is, 刚刚的问题是，就是刚刚他提到当下，那现在我们在科学研究上面有一个词叫做心流，我想问，心流状态和当下的状态是一样的吗？如果不是一样的，它们又有什么区别呢？那就像我们平时去就是有很多女孩子会去做瑜伽，会去做普拉提，那这样的状态是因为有呼吸课，这样会更加有助于帮我们找到处于当下的这个状态吗？ Yeah.
Allow me just to describe or define what is presence from my point of view is when your mind and body exist in the same time and the same space, receiving and perceiving what's happening within this space, then we can call ourselves being present. And there is multiple levels of presence. There is presence with oneself. So when I am paying attention to myself, I will start receiving sensory information and energetic information that will produce meaning. And when I'm present with you, with the other person, I will be receiving something completely different. And then when I'm present with the surroundings, that's a third level that I will receive even more different sensory information based on what I call the sensory sphere or the perceptual sphere that I am being present with. My experience varies. So presence is not only one, it is a one capacity, but it is utilized to experience life in different ways. The starting point is my mind and body exist in the same place and moment in time.
Yeah.
That is what is presence for me.
Yeah, I will translate first about the meaning of presence. Yeah. 刚刚就这个问题 Simon 他有就是回答到就是关于当下他自己的解读。那他对于当下的解读是 心和身同在一个空间，同在一个状态，能够在一个空间中接受和感知事情，那叫做场域。那就是就它而言，有很多不同的状态和什么不同水平和级别的场域。那如果当我是关注于自己的时候，那我接收这些感官信息、能量信息，我自己赋予它意义。那如果当我的场域集中在他人，你或者是他人的时候，那我的感知是不一样的。那我更或者说，当我把自己的重心就是放在周围的环境，那你会接触到更多不同不一样的感官刺激。那你这样的感知到的东西是更加不同，经历也会不同。那他想说的是，首先就是那种场域是很多和不一样的，不是单一的，所以我们只要保持 mind 头脑和我们自己的身体同在，那就是类似于一个场域状态。Yeah, please go on.
And we cannot, as human beings, develop any other skill or connect even to any person or anything without being able to access this capacity of being present. This is why in coaching, presence is the foundation of all coaching skills. I will not be able to listen to you profoundly if I am not be able to empty my mind from the past and the future and my own even self and judgment, and connect only to you and what you are sharing with me in this present moment, hearing you, sensing you with my entire self. This is why there is no such thing that's called a good coach who is not being able to live in his or her body and be present in the current moment versus constantly thinking about what comes next or what happened before.
Yeah. 那关于就是刚刚他说的场域，就是说他观察到人的成长、人的发展，任何人和任何事，它都是与场域挂钩的。所以说，在教练辅导中啊，场域它是是最基本的一个技巧，基本上的一个技巧。那就是要求我们要放空头脑，要就是忘却过去，不要再想也要忘却将来的一些困扰，要放弃判断放弃自我中心，要专注于对方，用自己的听感，用自己的感受，用自己的眼睛各大感官放大去感受对方的存在，用自己的inner self 就自己的内在去感受对方的一些信息。那所以说最重要的就是我们要处于当下，就是不畏将来，也不要总是复盘过去，就是一种当下的场域的状态。Yeah, thank you very much.
You are more than welcome.
Yeah. So thank you very much for you to give this speech. Yeah. So I'll send the email about the data, and maybe we have the following feedbacks to this webinar. I will send you together. So next I will introduce the next webinar. Yeah. So 大家好，那我们今天的 Yeah, do you have anything to share? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and for just being present. And I hope that you found anything of value in what I shared with all of you, everyone. Thank you, and may our paths cross somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, likewise. So 刚刚 Sam 说他非常感谢大家过来倾听，就是他的讲座。那就是刚刚教了大家一个处在当下的这个问题。那 就是非常感谢大家。那以后我们一定会有交集的。好，
谢谢。拜。
No worries, you're welcome.
拜拜，拜拜。
好，大家好，今天我们的讲座就告一段落，但是呢，大家不要走开，因为我们还有接下来的讲座预告。我们下周同样也有一场讲座。那非常感谢刚刚嘉宾Summer 给我们带来非常精彩的演讲。那他其实也是一个认证的导师教练。那如果大家对于导师这项事业感兴趣，请扫码就是询问一下我们的客服人员或工作人员，去了解更加深入的去了解一下什么是导师。那如果有幸我们能够一起合作，我们要一起开启一场一项没有天花板的事业。那在我们导师界呢，有5项金句。第一个是选对方向，做对事情。首先，导师首要的任务是帮助学员明确发展的方向。那方向错了，那与结果就会渐行渐远。那方向确定后，导师激励挖掘学员的无限潜能，才能令其快速有效的达成目标。那第二点呢，是提升你的能量。那能量的提升和事物的完成会同时推进。导师辅导过程不仅仅强调达成目标，它更注重在达成目标的过程中，学员能量级和状态的提升。那第3点是激活资源。资深的导师会帮助学员呢发现并激活其内在和外在的资源。第4点是成果量化。那导师辅导过程中呢，大家可能会觉得就是没有办法去用数据去量化，但是呢我们有关键绩效指标 KPI、关键行为指标 KBI， 还有投资回报率来量化导师的成果。那最后一点是最重要的、最具有特色的，我们专业导师辅导中的一个技能，就是隐形知识萃取。那我们导师如果懂得萃取的专业导师，不仅仅传承自己的经验与智慧给学员，他也可以通过萃取他人的技能传承给学员。那我们简而言之就是说，导师呢，他是可以帮助你开心并且更快乐、更快速、更高效、更有效的让你实现你的人生目标和理想。那我们这一次呢 EMCC 国际认证导师课程呢8月25日就开课了，距离开课也还有1个星期，那名额有限，如果你有兴趣赶紧扫码关注，扫码参加。那同时也可以关注我们的微信 Mentor&Co 导师学院。那关于我们下一期的讲座是来自于德国的 Katrin 博士，他讲的话题是如何与创始人携手面临挑战，引领团队走向成功，是在8月21号下午4点。他是哲学博士，也是临床和职业心理学家，是认证的大师级教师，也是阿什里奇和 EMCC 认证的教练和督导。接下来还有一个好消息告诉大家，那就是组织隐形技能管理全球智库，就是一个全球性国际性的非盈利性智库它就是将在瑞士达沃斯今年11月份12日到14号举办呢第2届全球组织隐形知识管理的论坛。那我们 Mentor&Co 因为它就是有很多顶级的领袖会受邀于就是去参加这个论坛。那我们同时为一些不方便过去的人呢，就独家开放了线上通道。我们 Mentor&Co 是这个全球智库的唯一理事单位，所以呢，你们联系我们是非常放心的。那请扫码关注一下参会详情和门票信息。当然，如果您在我们此次直播间能够就是现在扫码联系到客服，或许您还有一次免费的机会能够看到线上论坛，那价值99欧元。今天我们的讲座呢就到此结束了，所以感谢你们的聆听也希望您能够留下宝贵的建议，如果您觉得有价值，也可以不要忘记分享给您的朋友谢谢。